Let's talk. I said there's power in these words, so let's talk. Let's talk. I said there's power in these words, so let's talk. Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. If I don't talk to you, the treasure in this message, so I gotta drop a couple jewels. Did it for my people, need some guidance, and they seek it true. Tired of propaganda, and they sick of being lied to. There's power in these words, so let's talk. Yeah. So let's talk. I say there's power in these words, so let's talk. Yeah. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Yeah. We need more wisdom, we need more love. I'm screaming peace on my people, I'm talking one love. And positive people, we need some more of. And black-owned businesses in my neighborhood really need to talk about our condition. TV and the media is paint strange pictures. If you see a black man, get your gun because these vicious cops been killing us. Why you think it's cop killers die?
Major TV and this is brought to you by Major. Like and subscribe to get your notifications. Cause do it without you need your full participation. And we giving back, this is our appreciation. This is Major TV and this is brought to you by Major. Like and subscribe to get your notifications. Cause do it without you need your full participation. And we giving back, this is our appreciation. Appreciate the views and appreciate the comments. Keeping it real, always giving you this content. Hoping that my people don't take nothing out of context. Giving you this knowledge, hoping that it change your mindset. Telling you you're beautiful like the dawn of the sunset. And letting them know black power is more than just a concept. Major TD, you know we do this for the people. Changing the community and raising future leaders. This is Major TV and this is brought to you by Major. Like and subscribe to get your
Positive vibrations, and good day to everybody. This is Major. And thank you for tuning in to TV Let's Talk. We have a very, very special guest. Can't wait to have her on. This is a situation where in these days of time, we know there's been a lot of things going on with women in general. And we're going to expound on that with somebody who have devoted her life and bringing truth to power, talking about defending self-justice and what have you. And before we start this thing, please share the live because we got some information going on. If you're a female, you want to listen. You're a woman, you want to listen. If you know somebody that need a good word today, we're gonna bring this great sister right here, sister and Queen Iona. How you doing? Blessings.
I'm doing great, Major. Blessings to you.
Love the smile. How you doing? I mean, hey, we met through Allegra, shout out to Allegra and what have you. She told me some things about you. Said you had a story. Tell us some things about you.
So that's great. Like I said, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to speak with you. And yes, I am a African American woman, also Native American woman. My tribe is the Shinnecock Indian tribe. And I love to step into that empowerment. I call myself a transformative force that basically is a conscientious influencer, critical thinker, abolitionist, because there is still enslavement that is happening today, holistic wellness advisor, and being able to be a multifaceted leader on different courses and in different areas. I'm a best-selling author. I have been blessed to be a part of a phenomenal group.
Excuse me, what's the name of the book?
The book is called Phenomenal Women Who Boss Up.
You heard that, huh? Remember that Phenomenal Women Who Boss Up. Go get the book. She's a bestseller. Oh, that means that book must be popping.
It is really popular. We even hit the international best-selling list. I'm having an official book signing actually next Friday, and it is a great opportunity to share other women's stories. So I'm one of the women who's in there, and there are 8 other women who have chapters, and we are devoting our speech to strength, resiliency, honor, how we are stepping out into being innovators and entrepreneurs and just being an encouragement to other women.
All right, cool. So where you from?
So I am initially from New York, but I have been living in Baltimore for several years now. But I'm initially from New York, born and raised, and loved the years that I spent there.
Okay, when I looked at your website, right?
Hmm.
If you haven't seen her website, um, you haven't seen her social media. If you want to know anything about the beautiful sister, please go in the description of this video. It's all in there. But when you say defending justice, can you define that to people that don't know what you mean? Because justice is all shapes, forms, and sizes. Can you explain it to us?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I do have a podcast. It's called Iona Speaks, about defending self-justice, and how that actually was developed was to be a safe space for women and mothers to hear how we can walk in our dominion through the power of voice and the strength of awareness. Because we need to realize that there is value in our life and in our experiences, and we do what is right through God's eyes, because we were all created by the creator of this universe to actually be great. So, this podcast is to demonstrate how we actually can walk through that greatness that He's given to us and become defenders of His righteousness and His justice that He's put in us. Because sometimes, especially in some other professional realms where I've worked in, where I'm working with law enforcement, sometimes if people don't always get the justice in the legal terms. However, we can always get the justice that we need to ourselves in recognizing who we are, who we belong to, and how we are walk in that greatness, even if others don't see that in us.
I don't know. So I have a question, right? Because I don't know if you
Mhm.
talk about this, but I remember reading in your bio and whatnot and looking at your website. You're a social worker.
I am.
Okay, tell us about that. What made you get into social work? And did that inspire you after learning what's going on with women and
Mhm.
be an advocate for all this?
Yeah, I was inspired to be a social worker actually through a graduate counselor when I was in undergrad. And basically, I knew that I wanted to work with individuals who were experiencing pain and being able to bring some type of awareness and healing to their path of restoration. And so, social work is actually such a broad field. There's so much that you can do in social work. It's not just case management or even therapy, but you can do policy. You can be key in implementing policies and going into legislative conversations and going into research and delving into a variety of spaces that provide growth.
Well, let me ask you this right quick. Let me come in right quick. But
Mhm.
what have you experienced? What have you seen when it comes down to women, particularly in your line of work, and what have you been a woman, and the passion that you had that had been created inside you because of all what's going on, social, political, economical, in society. Talk about what your experiences and stuff with women and what have you.
Yeah. So that's another great question. I have been able to experience as a woman, I've experienced the pain. So I've also experienced childhood trauma. I've experienced adult family trauma as well, that has been inflicted, because sometimes women are seen, and girls are seen to be weak, are seen to be less than, are seen to not have a voice, to maybe be invisible. Yet women are very strong. Women are very unique. Women are great in all that they do and say, and girls are empowered. And so, um, with my experiences growing up in uh, a family where I had a strong patriarchal uh, influence through my paternal grandfather, and so he always spoke to me in the greatness of who I was to be. So even when it was time for me to get married, and I found my well, we'll say my king found me, as you introduced me as a queen, because I am a queen.
Mm.
And I am fortunate, blessed to be married to an extraordinary Black king. And that also helps to see that when there are struggles that we experience because of maybe the color of our skin, or perhaps maybe the accent that we might have, or because of situations that might come into our lives, It is good to have a strong structural foundation, to have friends that you can connect with, to have a family structure, and to have an environment that shows and listens. Because that also, when you've experienced trauma, um, having a listening ear and knowing that you are being seen and heard is validating and very important. And that's what I like to do, especially as not just being a social worker, but being a woman.
All right, my next question: how is it important for women to have a voice in today's society?
It is key for women to have a voice. That is instrumental and integral. I mean, when we go back to the very beginning, you know, man was men began to be created out of the woman's womb. So yes, we know about Adam and Eve, and you know, came out of the rib of Adam. Yet all of nations were birthed through women, and so it's important to recognize that women have a voice. Especially, we are in Women's History Month in the month of March, and we're in here where there are so many powerful and dominant women who maybe society hasn't heard from, or don't know. Eunice Carter is one of those women who people don't really know of. She was the first African American prosecutor in the state of New York. That is powerful. Her name is Eunice Carter, and not many people know about her. And so what I'm saying is that it's important that women know that we have a voice, that we can speak, that we can share, that there is greatness and wisdom and strength that moves within inside of us. And so we need to share that with others and continue to allow for those stories to go from generation to generation so that we don't forget about them.
All right, now I do want to get off the Me Too movement, but I want to speak about something you're talking about that bothers me a little, right?
Mm-hmm.
As far as the Bible, right, and
Sure.
how the Bible has been used to silence women, treat women in an inferior way, as well as be abusive. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes this is unconscious, I believe, because of how society universally have been taught with the Bible and what have you. How do women deal with that, right? Because that's what they're really fighting against, society
Mm-hmm.
in reference to the role of a woman versus a man and so forth, so on.
That's a great question, Major. And here's another thing is that there's been misinterpretation of the scriptures. And I think with the misinterpretations of scriptures, that's when you have humanity coming in and bringing a false narrative. Because in the beginning, it's very clear what God said. He created man and woman, and he created us in his own image. He created us in his own likeness, and he created us to have his dominion and to walk in his way. And so over the years and over centuries, what humanity has done was that they have looked at this, and because they have seen just the word man, they have misinterpreted by saying that woman came out of man. And when he said, I made them in my own image, he didn't say I made one. He didn't say I made man. He said I made them in my image and likeness, which is man and woman. And so when we have clear understanding of the interpretation of the scriptures, then we actually can walk boldly and courageously in those spaces. There's a time, and you talk about that in the church. I'm an ordained elder. There was a time when women were not seen to be elders. Women could not seen to actually give voice to scriptures or to speak encouragement to other people. Yet that's a misinterpretation of scripture. And their hope, and I know that in different churches, they're moving towards that. But as a society, has that cycle been broken? Absolutely not.
Well, I think we have real issues today, society with the Me Too movement, LGBTQ community, and I gotta ask these questions, right?
Yes.
All right, with the Me Too movement, I understand the argument and what they're saying, but when I see how they deal with Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying, versus how they deal with black men, right? Like the Bill Cosby or killers with them. Can you give me some understanding of what this all about? Just from a layman's standpoint of me being a man, understand that women have been abused, silenced, and so forth. So on. you kind of talk about it, then I want to go to the LGBT community because something came to my mind. I want to ask you about it. All right.
Sure. So let me see if I understand your question first. Are you asking why there is such a disparity in
No, I'm just saying what it's about and what it's about basically and the mismanagement of it when it come down to if it's wrong, period, the way how women be treated. I don't like how they, when they come down to white men, it's a different type of response. And I know why, right? And I'm trying to get in the mud a little. I don't want to be there too long. But I just want to know what it's about and disparity in it. You know what I'm saying? Reference to how they treat black men versus white men that didn't have wronged a woman, a woman.
So when you talk about the legal standpoint, it basically we should be treated equally, both regardless of race, culture, or even socioeconomic status. So what happens is our society, the legislative system, was created the way the words are stated. It doesn't always come out to be that way. And I first want to also say in agreement, and I thank you so much for saying that whether it's a boy, whether it's a man, whether it's a girl, whomever has been victimized through any type of physical or sexual violence or manipulation should not be treated as silence. Their voices all matter. And the perpetrator, that individual who perpetrated that crime against them, should actually be treated the same as another person, regardless of whether their race is or regardless of what their socioeconomic status is. And the reason why there is still a disparity that happens is because of racism and classism.
Okay, cool, but I still don't like that.
I don't like it either. I don't like it either.
Well, my thing is this here. You can't say you equal. You can't say you for women rights or you against wrong to women, but there's some disparity is in contradiction and what have you when it comes down to certain groups versus other groups. So I'm gonna leave alone with that. And this just another question to mud, right? How you feel about the LGBT community and how they trying to take the place of women? Because I really feel like that's how I see that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a muddy question I wanted to add. I just wanted to know because I mean, though they are human and they're supposed to be treated fairly and what have you, but that's a big controversy among women and roles and whatnot, and how society can interpret that. I just want to know that before I go over to other questions and stuff. I just want to
So I'm not clear on exactly the question that you're asking.
They want to be women. They want to be women.
So are you
the role of women? I'm saying how y'all women are dealing with that.
Okay,
a lot of women are complicit. Is whatever, but how do that make you feel as a woman? I mean,
so the LGBTQ plus community is about identification, and it's about how they actually feel. Yet they are still humans, and I go back to humanity. They're still created in the image of God. So whether or not when I'm a woman, and that's why I'm saying I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, understanding your question clearly, but I'm not against someone who identifies as LGBTQ.
I'm just talking about the not the entire community. I'm talking about those who actually, you know what I'm saying, like taking the role of a woman and want to be a woman and what have you. And how do it make women feel in reference to have to deal with that aspect of it? I mean, I know a lot of them complicit don't care. I just want to know your opinion about it.
So are you asking the question about transgender?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay. Well, because I just wanted to be clear.
No, I'm not trying to. It just don't matter if you're transgender or not. I'm just saying. Well, I won't say transgender because they dress like women, what have you. I just want to know what's your position about it, of them wanting to take a role of a woman. Consider we brought the Bible and so forth. So it's just a question. Right. I'm not trying to include all of them, but since you got specific, yeah.
Sure. So I think you said two pieces. I think we were talking about transvestites, and you were also talking about transgender, which are two separate things. If someone wants to dress like a woman, but they still are operating as a man, and then there's also those who feel that they were born differently. What I say to that is I go back to the piece of that all humanity was created to be great. There were men who were to be born men, and there are women who are to be born women. And then how they move in that, it doesn't neglect or negate from the greatness that they actually were created for. Now, what happens and what choices they make, that's something totally different. But they were all created in God's image.
Well, my question was not to defame or put nobody down,
Mm-hmm.
because we're talking about women and what have you, and
Sure.
knowing that this is a situation out there. It was just a question that I just thought about and wanted to know how
Sure.
you feel about it, but it was not for me to condemn anybody. Um, well, what are the true challenges for Black women in today's time? Because my issue when we talk about the LGBT community, um, the feminist movement of women and what have you, Black people forget that there is racism, classism, and so forth and so on, and a lot of time, Black women really don't get the benefit of the doubt like other groups would have you, and
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what you think about that.
I think it's time for every voice to be heard, and we've known that people's voices were being heard. People's voices were being heard during the transatlantic slave trade. People's voices, women's voices, were being heard during the civil rights movement. As we are still in Women's History Month, I speak about my great grandmother, and she of Shinnecock Indian. She actually was the first Grand Marshal to lead the powwow in Long Island. And so, what I think about her voice now needs to be magnified. Because what I'm saying is that every voice, every woman's voice, even though some might have been silent, they now need to be magnified. It doesn't matter if you're on a stage where you can reach millions, or you're on a stage where you can reach 100, or you're on a stage where you're just in a conversation in a parent teachers organization. Every woman's voice needs to be heard. If you have something, it's empowered. And because when that voice is heard, it becomes magnified. And when it's magnified in the community, then other people will be able to listen.
Good day and positive vibrations. Everybody tune in. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, comment, ask questions. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, notification bell to get the content that's dropping every day, all day, whenever I can drop it. I have the lovely, beautiful Queen Iona on here, and we're talking about self-awareness and self-justice and self-awareness, and particularly she focuses on defending self-justice. And because you keep speaking about it, Women Month, I appreciate that. Can you give a brief history about what's what Women Month is all about, and talk about the history, because we know about early 20s or what have you, start of this country,
Mhm.
women having right to votes and so forth, small, and how far women have came.
And women have come a long way. I like to use the example that I've spoken on to at the podcast. I think about Mamie Till. Mamie Till, of course, was the mother of Emmett Till. And Emmett Till was savagely, brutally tortured and beaten by white men during the time of Jim Crow. And basically, there was never any type of legal justice that was given to Mamie Till for that crime that was committed to her son. Yet Mamie Till did not stop. She continued to speak to whomever would listen. She joined different groups. She created different groups. She wrote, co-authored a book that actually now speaks about how what her journey was. And I use that story to move us forward, to say again that no matter what has happened or what someone looks at you, how someone sees you and perceives you, you as a woman in humanity, basically, and I wouldn't even say just a woman, a man, a boy, a girl, every human being has the right to walk in the greatness that God has given to them through his righteousness and through his dominion. And when we speak about how women had to struggle in the past because they were not seen as individuals with a voice, they were not seen that they were valued, they were not seen at all, that now we have the first women who is a Black woman as well as an Asian woman who is the vice president of the United States. So we're able to know that there has been movement, and there steadily is movement that's coming for us as women. So I love that this is happening in, on the second day of Women's History Month, because it's their stories and their struggles that allows us today to move forward to make another generational impact for our children, our grandchildren, our great grandchildren.
All right, and this is not just them with the states. I think this apply, globally. The UK,
Absolutely.
South America, North, in the islands, in Africa, and what have you. And I have to say that because I know the people from overseas, like a friend of mine, Jim Lynn Tan, she's in here. We were real close. And she's a attorney out of the UK, and I know when we speak is multi domestic, but I want people to know that women have been abused, have been mistreated, have been undermined, have been taken advantage, abused, killed, and what have you. Um, and we have to definitely acknowledge that. And for a long time, on men, have decided to take power in their own hand and write whatever they want to write and create a law or subscribe. Um, Idealistic wise how women should be treated, and that wasn't fair. And I just want to thank you for coming on talking about that. What's the best advice you can give a woman who's going through something going through something right now? What's the best advice you can give her and how she can deal with that? Because right now there's probably women listeners right now that's going through something that can
Hmm.
kind of advice.
Hmm. That's great. And I'm so glad that you added the international piece as well, because it's not just domestic. It is across the world. We're talking about across the world. Even though, I'm living in the United States, um, that means nothing, because what we're experiencing is still being experienced in other nations as well. Um, the best advice that I can give, I would say, is to um, honor yourself. And what I mean by that is honor yourself is to know that you are created for greatness. You are valued. Know that you are seen. And even when it seems like other people don't see you, you are seen by the creator of this universe, because you were created by the creator of this universe. And so it doesn't matter if man doesn't see you, or humanity doesn't see you, or other people don't see you. You are seen and you are heard and you are valued. And so honor that. Honor the fact that you were created for greatness. Be encouraged to know that this experience that you're going through is something that is going to strengthen you, that is going to give you even more wisdom so that you can walk in that wisdom and be able to be at peace, even through the struggle, even through the pain, the mental pain, the agony, the anguish, the physical pain that you might be experiencing as well. So honor the fact that you were created for greatness and that you are highly valued.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. To know more about the beautiful Anna, please go to the description of this video. A whole bio in there. You want to contact her personally, you can email, you can call her. She have a social media. She have a LinkedIn account. I mean, we got the whole nine with her. And I want to thank you again for coming on, and for those who are viewing, please like and share. That brings me to my next question. What do self love mean to you, and
Mhm.
how it should translate in our life today?
Yeah, that's a great question, Major, because yeah, I've been speaking about that, and what is self love, and we just talked about honoring yourself and sharing that. Um, Sometimes we look at ourselves and we don't really see the beauty of who we are, and self love is knowing that, yes, like I said, I'm married to a wonderful king, and he is definitely my best friend and loves me unconditionally. Yet I can't receive that love. I wouldn't be able to receive that love in such magnitude if I first didn't love myself. Because it doesn't matter if you get all these accolades from other people and everyone is, pulling you up. If you don't recognize yourself as being the greatest love that was created, God loves all of us. And I look in life and I'm like, hey, I was created out of love. So therefore, even when there's hate that comes against me, even when my mind might think of hateful things or doubtful things or fearful things, to know that that's okay to have those thoughts, but they're not going to rest inside of me because I love myself and I know who I am. I know who created me, and I know why I was created. And so that allows me to actually love myself, even if others can't see me and others don't love me and others don't know me, because I know me. And that was a journey that I had to go on. It wasn't something that I woke up, when or just entered into in my teenage years, but it was through all life experiences that I got to the point of recognizing that, it doesn't matter what pain I experience. I am a survivor of also of a car crash that where doctors said that I should not even be living. And I have extensive brain injury. I have an extensive brain injury.
All right.
Yet, even through the pain, the physical pain, the nerve pain, it doesn't matter because I still love myself. I embrace the pain. And I think it gets to the point when you recognize that pain might come, thoughts of insufficiencies might come, yet we need to sit in the space that we were created for greatness and to love that. And so because I love myself, I love all of myself, even the painful pieces. And it causes me to strive.
Let's talk about your podcast, and let's talk about how you channel what you've been through and how you deliver a message that can be healing and helpful to women that's going through something. Because I know I didn't dive into. I know you talked about it briefly about your trauma and things you went through, and I didn't go into it deep because I've been trying to keep the podcast trying to get the keep it like an hour and a half. But how do you share that with people that's going through what you're going through in a similar way or maybe different or something different? How you translate it to a message, and how you able to get over to them? Do you do personal? I know you do the podcast. You do one-on-one counseling as well.
I do. I do one-on-one interviews. So like as we're speaking, I'm speaking with other people as well. And where the whole piece is to enlighten people through their experiences. So we talk about what they've been through and how they've become defenders of self-justice in whatever area it is. It could have been, being a mother, being divorced and continuing to move forward, having miscarriages, or having to go through just the just emergency surgeries where your baby came all the way to full term, but now your baby's no more. Trauma experiences of being raped or being sexually trafficked or labor trafficked, or, someone who has experienced, child abuse, or someone who has experienced their voices not being heard because of the color of their skin or because of how they feel they need to identify. So basically, it's elevating their experiences, their testimonies, to encourage and to empower listeners that just as someone else has gone through and they're experiencing something, they can get to the other side.
Well, basically, what you do, like you said, what I'm doing, what you're doing, you're actually taking action. You got background noise, huh?
Sorry about that.
I just want you good. We on point. We on point. So what you it's all beautiful. So what you're saying is you would take other stories. He go the stories right here. I mean,
yes.
You go your podcast and just sharing for people that's trying to receive what you're saying. I want people
Mm-hmm.
to see. We're gonna just gradually go through as I comment and ask questions. What you would actually do basically is you would take a story and share with the people, and basically together help deal with a situation, whether it's traumatic, whether it's concerning, whether it's problematic, right? Or just take a
Mm-hmm.
good story that was bad, that wound up turning out good. You share with the people as a form of informing and helping and building, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. And this our website again. Um, could you tell your could you speak your own spin? Or just
It is Iona R Rudisill.com. That's
oh,
IONARRUDISILL.com.
beautiful website. I love it. Definitely go check it out, my people. Um, Anna speaks about defending self justice. And these your first book release, huh?
My first book release. Yeah, it came out at Amazon last year, and then we actually received our hard copies at the end of the year. So on
Okay, great,
October.
great, great,
Hmm.
great, great. So yeah, so definitely support the sister. Definitely check her out because I think she's very amusing. I think she's very intelligent, and she has a testimony as well as she in the field. Whereas being a social worker, she really can relate to a lot of issues. She's seen a lot of things. But moving on to this question, that I think is important is: do you think women being heard more than ever now?
Absolutely, I do. I
Okay.
do.
And what kind of way?
I think because now people realize, society realizes that women are intelligent and women can
Mother
do.
Earth, baby, Mother Earth. Now, come on, now.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I'm saying. So it took perceptions to change. And so when perceptions were able to change, then you were able to hear. People were now able to hear. And then when you're able to hear, you can see things differently. And when you see things differently, you're able to become more receptive to what is being said and what is being placed before you. So things are not, you just don't have a group of women who are just over here or just over there. You have women from all nations. You have women from all backgrounds, women from all experiences. You have women who are, being CEOs of major companies, who are being presidents of universities, where this is spaces that were only occupied sometimes by men and then sometimes only occupied by European males. So now you're seeing that there are Asian women and there are Black women and there are Native American women and there are Hispanic, Latina X women. There are major changes that are happening because the perception of our society has now changed and allowed for this space to come through.
But we know that there's still disparage with wages,
Mm-hmm.
still discrimination
Mm-hmm.
in government, in society. There's still stereotypes, and there's still setbacks. What do you think that has to happen for that to change and for to get back on to get on even grounds? If that would ever be possible.
I think that's a great question, and
I'm
and
sorry, I'm just coming off the top of my head
no,
with
no, no,
saying
no.
stuff.
This is great because we're having conversation. I think it's I think it's possible, but there's a lot of acknowledgement that has to be done. There is still repair and healing that has to take place. Um, and that goes across the board. I talked about the churches. There is still healing because when we think about it, the transatlantic slave trade started with those who believed that what they were doing was biblical.
Mm.
um, there was when the Europeans came over to this land, to the United States of America, it was already occupied. Native Americans were already here and they were already living. And so a mindset, a transformational mindset needs to take place of understanding that every person's value and worth needs to be known and recognized, and it cannot be just dominated by one group of people or one area. And so, in order for us to really get to the place, there is still healing and restorative things that needs to take place. For example, there's always the conversation about reparations for family members whose family members were enslaved. Now there's been reparations for those who experienced the Holocaust. There have been reparations to even some groups in Native American cultures. Yet there is always this piece of reparations. And I'm not talking about money or everything. What I'm saying is that there's still the conversation that has not been recognized and understood.
Just mean repairing. That's all. Yeah.
It's repairing. And in order to repair a breach, apologies have to take place. But in order for an apology to come forth, it has to be a sincere awareness and knowledge that what was happening before should never have happened and cannot continue to happen.
And apology don't mean just in words. It's also showing through actions.
Always through actions. It can't just be what someone says. You know, we talk about when we enter into something that is not working or something that is valued. When we talk about sin is just, when you talk about repenting, it's a turn. So you're not just saying something, you're actually changing the course of your action to do something. And so our nation, our world, the entire world has still not repented for the atrocities that have been gone for different groups in humanity.
I really feel like it's like a paradox. I really feel like we live in contradiction, you know, and even the people that claim to be so Christian, this nation, right, is hypocritical. It's a joke, right, to say you about the Bible being Christian-like and what have you, but there's been so much misinterpretation. There's been so much abuse, and so much of taking for granted, and so much of just evil things that you can't even really take that serious when people speak like that. But I have a couple more questions to let you go, sister. But this is really about you. So please take your time. Do not rush answering this, right?
Sure.
What has your journey been like for you on helping others find themselves in tough times? What have it been like? Because I know outside your podcast, just your work itself deal with a lot, right? Well, how the journey been like? Have it ever been tough? Have it been fun? Have it been in the middle? What's going on?
My life's journey has been all of that. There has been trauma. There has been awareness of trauma. There has been beautiful joys. There has been enlightenment of understanding that traumatic experiences have helped me to grow and to allow me to be more inspirational because I've lived it. We're living in, well, let me say it this way. There have been experiences that I've had that basically have led to the use of unhealthy coping mechanisms. I have such as having an eating disorder for 8 years because of the childhood trauma I was experiencing and the fact that I wanted to make myself invisible, that I wanted to be silent. And so I first, for several years, for 5 of those years, I was anorexic. And it wasn't until my grandfather looked at me.
Anorexic, can you speak about
Sure.
that?
So anorexia basically is an eating disorder, and it is one form of eating disorders, because there are multiple eating disorders. Anorexia is a form where you just stop eating, or you eat very, very little. And because I wanted to be invisible, I was thinking, my mind was tricking me into making me think that the smaller I was, the less my voice could be heard, the less I could be seen, the less I could be hurt, the less I had to deal with the pain. So if I just diminished that, because I did not have a self-worth at that time. I didn't know my value. I didn't understand that I was created in
How you found
greatness.
it though? After you finish, I want to know how you found it. Like if people listen to you, they'll do
Absolutely.
that. All right.
Absolutely. So after that, then when I recognized that my grandfather started seeing the diminishment of me, which was very unhealthy, then I went to another unhealthy coping mechanism, which then I became a bulimic. So I would eat in front of people, but then I would purge myself different ways afterwards. And there came a point in my life when I recognized that it was so hard for me to do this, that there were thoughts of suicide. And there was even one action where I tried. Yet it did not work. And I laid on my bathroom floor as a adolescent child. And I just called out to God and I said, I don't know how to do this. I need help. And it went back to my grandfather, who basically saw me and said that you are beautiful just the way that you are.
I gotta come in. I'm sorry. I knew you about to get deep on me. I have to ask you these questions, right? What were
Uh-huh.
you going through? What were you going through? Like, what's up? You was heavyweight. What?
I thought that I was, but I wasn't. I at my lowest weight, I was clocked in at 78 pounds. And 78 pounds for a 5'2" young girl at the age of 15 is not healthy. So that just gives you the image that it looks like. However, I didn't see that that was unhealthy at that time. I didn't see until I became more aware of it. And that helped through um, counseling and through the support that I received from my grandfather.
What your grandfather was saying? I mean, what he was saying to you though?
What did he say to me? He said I was beautiful. That's what he said. He said that I was I was fearfully and wonderfully made. And he said that I was beautiful, but I didn't hear it at that time. I didn't hear it at that time. It took me, even though he said it, it took me another 3 years for me to really grab that I was fearfully and wonderfully made and that I was beautiful. And the reason why that happened is because people around me who were close to me, my inner circle, they didn't begrudge me. They didn't condemn me. They didn't judge me. They kept praying for me and they kept giving me encouragement to say, you know what? I don't know what you're going through. I don't understand what you're going through. But I want to let you know that I see you and I value you and I want you to get better. So those words and other words were helping me understand that, yeah, I was experiencing a sickness and I had to take the next step to acknowledge that and then move forward. So once I was able to acknowledge it and see, then I was able to see exactly what my grandfather said, that I was beautiful, and what God said to me, that I was fearfully and wonderfully made.
But that's a rush in our community. I remember we was Jones each other. I remember we talk about each other, mom, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna lie, as kids, we can be very cruel, very ugly. We can be very mean.
Mm-hmm.
But let's
Yeah.
talk about it because you went there. Let's go all the way there.
Mm-hmm.
There are women that actually changing their body, but not changing inside.
Changing my heart.
Yeah, you know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? They're not
Exactly.
dealing with spiritual, mental, emotional. They deal with straight physical, right? And as a result, they become worse than what they was. They thinking they get better, but now and they got a little butt, they got a flat stomach, they got the boobs. Now the world belongs to them, and you're gonna bother them and what have you. But at one time, they was in a distraught, and it was in a dark place, and they don't realize they're still in a dark place because they still haven't healed within. How you address that, as well as young kids who are called fat, who are called ugly, there is some layers we gotta peel. I don't want
Hmm.
deep in it, but I just had to say that,
Oh, I'm glad you said that because here's the thing, it all starts from the inner side. So it didn't matter how skinny I got, it didn't matter how I was looking. There were still people who were still calling me ugly. There were still people who were calling me fat. When I looked in the mirror, I saw fatness, even though at the most time I was still between 78 and 82 pounds. And so it starts with the inside. It has to be that personal journey. When you talk about what it is for about my personal journey, that's for everyone. You have to go on your personal journey and recognize it does start from within. There is nothing that I can do on the outside that is really going to change the inside unless the inside is willing to change. Because when my inside is willing to change, when my heart, my spirit, and my soul, when my soul is connected to my spirit, and I understand that worth, and I understand that value, and I understand that greatness, then I was able to change my perspective of what I saw. And when I saw that, I saw me in an unhealthy posture. I saw that. And that's why, so to answer and to go with your question, it does start within. And it's okay to do the work within. We have to do the work on ourselves, but we have to always know that we don't have to do it alone.
beautiful,
We don't have to do it alone.
beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for blessing the platform first and foremost. Before I have you give your last words, I do want to go to the comments. We haven't had people viewing and what have you. There's been just comments, some of them chat among each other, what have you. I'm gonna acknowledge. I won't be able to acknowledge everybody, but those who just talking to each other. But I will definitely acknowledge some people that come through, like my brother, Avenger the Ancestors, Antoine. What's up, brother Major? And room B1 first. Thank you for coming through. Black man, what have you. Black man always praising the most high. Okay, thank you so much. Um, Sister Jimmerly from the UK in the building. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming through, sister. Um, Cody Speaks, how you doing? So she said transgender are taking over. Yes, that's it. Do you think they believe that the most high Yah made a mistake? That's a question.
I'm not sure what you mean that transgender are taking over. Um,
No,
but what I,
we're not gonna play dumb to the question.
yeah,
That's what it means. It means taking over. Now
yeah,
you can disagree with that. I'm just saying that's what the question coming out.
okay. So, but what I would say is that I don't know what they think or believe that the Most High Yah made a mistake. I don't, I can't say that. What I can say is that the transgenders that I have spoken to, um, some do still have faith in God and they still have a high belief in their creator and they don't think that it was a mistake. They just don't know and understand why they were created the way that they were created. That's a platform that's beyond me, but I hope that that answers your question a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you, my brother. I'm trying to make out what he's saying. KKK, OPPMALA is not foundational, and that was a bad example for empowerment of the black woman. Do you know what he mean when he say that?
Um, I'm not sure what the KKK Opalapa. I don't know what that is. Um,
It's not for he said, but I didn't know.
I know he says. I know he says it's not foundational. I just don't know what. I don't know what the KKK
Antoine, you might want to
Apamala
come through and
is.
give clarity to your comment, and we'll come back to it. But thank you for the comment. Setting standards for yourself is okay. Real talk. Thank you so much. People after you come through and said, "Salute family." Thank you, sister, so much. And she come back and said, "This is beautiful work. Commending you for all the things you're doing." Um, Other sister said, Cody said, "Thank you for the words of wisdom, sister." Another brother said, "Avenge to the ancestors. One love, brother." Hey, man, if you want to come back and kind of clarify your comment, we definitely like to um receive that. But sister, look, that's the only comments and questions we got. Thank you so much again. Thank everybody viewing. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We drop content often. Thank you for coming through. Any last words? Share your social media. You can talk more about yourself. It's your monologue. Do your thing.
Okay. Well, I mean, we talked about a lot already. I I think I just wanted to hone in on the fact that you know, my understanding that God created me to be great and having shackles removed from my mind to walk boldly in his freedom and liberty as his creative image in this earth propels me to actually be who I am today, to have a platform for healing and restoration, to be able to bring wholeness and wellness to individuals, to know that there is value in our life experiences, no matter how hard and no matter how what the struggles are, and that the newsletters that I put out are to be those for to provide definitive structures of encouragement for enlightenment. And like I said, the podcast about being defenders of self-justice is for us to recognize that we were created for greatness and we can defend that posture within ourselves. We can defend who God says we are. We can defend the dominion that he's given to us to walk in his power, and that we have to own that, to understand that. And we still go through the different layers of it, and recognizing that even though there might be physical hurt, spiritual hurt, emotional hurt, psychological pain, mental pain, all of those things, they make up who we are. They don't stop or hinder us, but they continue to propel us forward.
Thank you so much. Antoine come back and say the vice president is not
Okay.
not descendant of survivors of American slavery, and she don't fight for the black woman. I agree. I definitely agree. But I'm gonna let the sister comment on that.
I mean, Vice President Kamala, are we going to agree with everything that she says? No, we're not going to agree with everything she says. We're not going to agree with everything that she does. Yet what I would say is that her presence, a fact of being a Black woman and being in that space, is it's like a rite to passage for our nation, because there was never supposed to be, according to what the world said and according to what the original documents of this nation wrote, there was never supposed to be a Vice President Kamala Harris, even in the Oval Office, in the White House. So we don't have to agree, but we need to listen and we need to embrace.
Look, I'm gonna let you know right now, Sister Anna is not going to. This is Women Month. She's not saying anything against the women. Don't even try. But thank you so much for definitely acknowledging that. Let me just say this: people don't realize this, but we had went through transatlantic slave trade and the brutal history of slavery in the States and in the diaspora, everywhere, right? But I'm talking about the States Pacific, particularly. They never thought it was gonna be as strong as we were. They never thought they would see what they see. People don't realize, even though we have a lot of division, they are very extremely surprised we survived it and doing what we're doing. Because we are winning at the same time we are losing. It is a battle, you know what I'm saying? It's a battle, and sometimes we get ground, sometimes we lose ground. But it's been a war ever since we was brought to these shores, and what it's been a war to subjugate us, and we've been fighting for freedom the whole time. But it's been definitely a surprise abiding of us being as great as we have been, despite the fact that we still show, like my sister Dr. DeGrasse said, post-traumatic slave syndrome sometimes, Yeah. Iona Speaks says she's very diplomatic. She has the blood for the connection.
Good. I love that.
Is she black though? She is Indian.
She's both.
Melanated. She's melanated black. They're melanated.
She's both.
Melanated.
You have to own your heritage. Own your heritage. I introduced myself. The first thing I said is I spoke about my African American roots. Do I know exactly where I'm from? Not yet. Um, but I know that I'm a Native American. I grew up understanding and knowing that I was a Shinnecock Indian and where my people and my heritage came from and how we started off in Canada and then was in New England and then actually were giving some territory in Eastern Long Island. Yet there's so much more, how we grew up to be whalers, how we actually started a commerce, of mariners. So we have to own our heritage. She's Indian, which makes her, some people say that that's also Asian. And she's African American. She speaks about both of that. She speaks about both her roots. And I think that's what we all need to do. When you honor your heritage and you honor your roots.
Why do people keep saying she's black when she never says she's black, but only when it's convenient for her?
She has said that she's black before. And yes, that would be a thing when it's convenient for her. If that's what you're saying, that's your opinion. And that's validated for you to have that opinion.
They're popping off. I see. Like, who are you supporting? People ask, please ask, who are you supporting enforcing for president 2024?
So I'll say,
what I'm talking about. You don't have to answer that question.
No. This is,
you don't want. You feel free. I'm saying it's whoever you vote for. Just say you don't have to answer that question if you don't want.
Absolutely. What I would say too, there is a podcast called Native Land Pod. And it is basically speaking about the political arena, and it speaks about what's happening, who our candidates are, and delves into that. Those who are asking about who actually should be president, I would say listen to Native Land Pod. And you can get it on YouTube. You can get it on, iHeartRadio. You can get it on just a multiplicity of platforms. And I say that to highlight that, to say there is no perfect candidate. But who I will choose is going to be the one who is going to lead us better and have an understanding of what's happening, as opposed to a person who is going to try to make it economical and commercial and build for themselves. And I have no problems with saying that I would not be voting for President Donald Trump.
All right, thank you for that response. I just don't want nobody to feel like they have to ask questions like that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I respect Cody's sister with a friendship, but this is basically what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? The political arena is what it is and what have you. And we do have to figure out what's going on. But this is about Women's Month, what you have to share to what you're sharing on your platform, what you're doing as an author, and what you're doing personally to help everybody else around you. And that's beautiful. So with that being said, I don't see no more I don't see nothing that we should bring up on the screen again. That for comments, I want to thank everybody. Please like and share. And I want to thank you, sister. You know what I'm saying? You did give your last words, right?
I did. You told me to give them. Unless you want me to give some more. I said, you told me to give them. I did give them.
I just wanted to make sure. So we about to get on out here. We've been in here hour and 8 minutes. That's that time. Again, I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody watching. Please like, share, subscribe, notification bell, drop content often. Also check out news, facts, and comments.com. Cody Speaks on. That's my partner. News, facts, and comments is merged with Major TV. I think I shared it with you. I think I shared it with Allegra to share with you about that. Also check out Cody Speaks on YouTube as well, and Generational Wealth Building on YouTube and whatnot. So we are really doing big things. You're welcome to contact me again. Let's do it again. You did a great job for everybody out there and for you. Yo, be safe, be strong, and just be you. Peace.
Thank you.
Let's talk. Yeah. Doing it from the heart, that's the only way of doing it. Giving them food for thought, cause these Jews are real jewelry. Remember, we used to march for peace. The days Dr. King, remember, we would walk the streets showing our unity. Yeah, strength in numbers, we need more talk among us. We need to show more love and be more supportive. Product of my environment, something wrong with the soil. Soldier with no platoon, cause every day it's a war. Doing it from the heart, cause that's the only way of doing it. Giving them food for thought, cause these Jews are real jewelry. Remember, we used to march for peace. The days Dr. King, remember, we would walk the streets showing our unity. Doing it from the heart, cause that's the only way of doing it. Giving them food for thought, cause these Jews are real jewelry. Remember, we used to march for peace. The days Dr. King, remember, we would walk the streets showing our unity. Let's talk. I ain't saying that it gotta happen overnight, but we gotta make a change to preserve life, serve a greater purpose, and start with you and I. Gotta plant the seeds of hope deep in your mind, and let it grow to something you never thought it would, and give back all the blessings to the neighborhood, just the way you should, the only way to do it. This is major TV music, black media. Doing it from the heart, cause that's the only way of doing it. Giving them food for thought, cause these Jews are real jewelry. Remember, we used to march for peace. The days Dr. King, remember, we would walk the streets showing our unity. Doing it from the heart, cause that's the only way of doing it. Giving them food for thought, cause these Jews are real jewelry. Remember, we used to march for peace. The days Dr. King, remember, we would walk the streets showing our unity.
The Negro is still languished in the corners of American society, finds himself in exile in his own land. So we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned.